I'm David Baldacci. I'm supposed to talk to you about sort of my 5 favorite fantasy series. I might slip in a 6th one just because I think it's very deserving of that I think people would enjoy. Now, some of these are going to be very obvious to you. You probably already read all the books, but if you haven't, these are good recommendations. The first one would be Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Probably one of the greatest fantasy series ever created. I was an adult when these books came out, but I had young kids, and we would listen to them on the audiobooks because Jim Dale is like the most amazing reader ever. So many voices he created. The guy was just knocked it out of the park. He was amazing. Our kids and my wife and I would listen to the audiobooks. We'd stop and pause, and we'd talk about stuff. The kids would have questions, we would have questions, but it was just sort of a family affair, just beyond entertaining. The next is Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I read this book when I was in high school, the whole series, and it was a difficult series at first because the language is so different, the terms were so long, the names were so long, but well worth it. Talk about this quest, this journey through these different types of worlds and all the people and creatures and beasts and magic you meet along the way. Just phenomenal. Tolkien really, he knew what he was doing. He was a linguist, he was a master of languages, and when he created these different worlds, he knew what he was doing, and it's just beyond brilliant. That's why it's been read so widely over the last 7 decades, while films have been made about it. It's just historically classic series. The next one is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, a writer I actually know, a brilliant writer. She came up with this idea for The Hunger Games while she was watching, I think, a couple of shows on television. I was thinking about the Afghan war and about poverty and hunger across the country, and sort of combine the 2 elements into The Hunger Games, which is an astonishing revelation, and an astonishing sort of way to come about creating such a superlative series that obviously has been read by millions across the world and made it to hugely successful films. The next one, Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, this is the creative mind of, opening a wardrobe and you go into a different world and you meet all these amazing characters, some good, obviously some bad, and the kids having this adventure, this quest that gets them out of their normal lives. Again, fantasy series is all about taking you from one place to another, a place you've never experienced before. That's all about fantasy, because fantasy is all about one's imagination and taking you from reality and placing you somewhere else. The next series would be the Artemis Fowl series, Owen Colfer. It's sort of like the bad boy's anti-hero. And that's quite a challenge to make someone who's sort of bad and evil and not really good into someone that you root for. I had to do that with some of my adult series where I have an assassin who is the lead protagonist, the person you're supposed to root for and care about. His job is to go out and kill people. So how do you make people root for that? And for that person, it takes quite a bit of skill. And Colfer obviously has it. Artemis Fowl series is fantastic. And here's another one that I'm going to throw in there as my 6th one, the Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde. I started reading these about 15 years ago. He has the Thursday Next series. She's a literary detective that chases villains through great works of literature. I mean, how amazingly creative is that? Jasper Fforde has an imagination that just won't stop, just a brilliant, brilliant writer. Then he has the nursery rhyme crimes and a lot of other series too that just takes an original concept and then turns it on its head. It's just absolutely amazing. You will never look at some of these nursery rhymes, Humpty Dumpty or the 3 Bears, in the same way ever again. So those are my picks for a fantasy series. I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you discover a lot more. Thanks.